Good evening and welcome to McKellar Park for live football MPL from Canberra on Bar TV Sports. It's Belconnen United versus the Riverina Rhinos here from McKellar. My name's Russ Gibbs. I'm your commentator for this evening. Joining me on the commentary gantry, fresh from gallivanting around Europe, Dean Ugrich, head coach of the Canberra United youth team. Dean, welcome back from overseas. How was your trip?
Fantastic, Russ. Nothing better than being in Europe in a World Cup year.
And I understand you watched a bit of Belgium in Belgium, and more importantly, you watched a bit of Croatia in Croatia.
Yeah, it was in Croatia for the semi-final and then the final. Yeah, unbelievable.
Great experiences for you and Jason as well.
It was magical. The whole country was gripped in World Cup fever, obviously, and it really reunited a whole nation.
Speaking of that, Jason's on the bench today. Jason Ugrich, back from overseas on the bench in the Belco team. We'll have a look at that in a moment. A couple of things we want to talk about, game last night and tonight. But first of all, I want to mention Tony Barr from Belconnen United.
Yeah, look, Tony Barr has. This will be his last home game as president of the club. Tony Barr came in on the board at the end of the 2014 season. During some difficult times at the club. He over the course of 3 years, since that time, he helped transform the club or maintain the success of the club. And certainly during my time at the club, he was an unbelievable support for me, and has just done an unbelievable job in his capacity of president. He not only did he care about the first team, but he cared about everyone at the club. And without him and his wife Philippa, I don't think that Belconnen would be the powerhouse club of the last 3 years that it has been.
Is this a sabbatical for Tony, do you think? Are we going to see him back? He's going to get the football fever again?
I dare say he will. Very much like me, you get to a point where you get a little bit fatigued. I suspect that he'll take a year off, but he'll miss being around the guys. I suspect. I think that he'll have a year off, and then he'll be back in some capacity.
So thanks to Tony Barr for everything he's done for Belconnen United. Looking at the MPL, moving on to football matters. And yesterday, Canberra Olympic Tigers FC. Tigers FC 2-0 up at half-time. Goals from Nicholas Vijafanye and Nikos Kalfas had them 2-0 up. Then the heavens opened, the pitch was unplayable, and Canberra Olympic dodged one maybe.
Well, they certainly did. They get to replay that game at a later time. I think Belconnen also breathed a sigh of relief as well, because that keeps them back in finals contention too.
Must say, I've seen the pictures of the field. There was standing water all over it. I understand that the referee tried to get the game going again. The ball just wasn't going anywhere. That pitch does drain, but it takes a long time to drain. We've had no rain here for a while, and then it's come down in absolute bucketfuls last night. So the referees made the decision to call it off. Unfortunate for Tigers FC, who, as you say, are pushing for the top four as well. But they'll go again, and hopefully we'll have sets us up nicely for next week, where we have Tigers FC Belconnen United down at Nijong, depending, of course, what happens here today. And Riverina Rhinos here to spoil the party.
Well, the Riverina Rhinos have had a pretty good year. They've got some results against some pretty good sides. I watched the Belconnen Riverina game early on in the year, and where they got a result, and some dare say that the second half they were the better team and maybe unlucky not to get all 3 points.
We'll talk more about Riverina, of course, over the course of the evening. Earlier this afternoon, you were at Woden Park. You watched Canberra FC go back to the top of the MPL ladder in far from predictable fashion. 2-0 down, 2 goals from Alaid Yinka-Kahain from Woden Western, then a Thomas James double and one from Michael Mensah turns the game on its head. And this season in the MPL just keeps on giving, doesn't it, with performances and games? Who knows where it's going to end?
Well, Woden were probably a little bit unlucky not to get something out of the game, Russ. It's extraordinary that the game was called off last night, given the pitch, the state of the pitch this afternoon, because it was beautiful. Woden shot out to a 2-0 lead. Were unlucky not to go 3-0, hit the inside of the post and had one cleared off the line. And, a couple of breaks went, Canberra FC's way, and the momentum shifted and they ended up getting over the line.
Talk about big game players and big game players stepping up at big times for their team. Thomas James, another couple of goals for him today. And Michael Mensah, who's, was starting the season as a coach, wasn't really looking around to play. Michael Tarasi's injured. He's come off. He scored an important goal last week and another big goal today.
Well, Thomas James has been outstanding all year, the most dangerous player that Deakin have, in the league at the moment. So He came up to the plate and delivered again, and of course Michael Menza, who in the last 3 or 4 weeks, if you talk to Paolo and Danny Makor, he's been up there with one of their best players.
Here come the two teams for this evening's game. Belconnen United in their sky blue, Riverina in the green. Let's go through the teams. Dean, Belconnen United in goal, Finn Durack. Their back four, Cam Reinhardt, Isaac Clements, Phil Bourgeot, Zach Mabry. We're expecting three across the middle, Adrian Makor, Dustin Wells, Brad Waters. Up front, Sam Whittier, Marty Rains and Daniel Badach. The only change from the side that drew 2-2 at Canberra FC. Marty Rains comes in for the suspended Daniel Sparrow.
Apart from Daniel, it's a pretty solid lineup, Russ. Very, very good.
Well, we're expecting Wells to perhaps drop into the hole where Sparrow played and Rains to play up front. Barach coming in from the right, their leading scorer. Riverina Rhinos, they've had their usual selection issues that Coach Gabriel Abdallah seems to have every week, depending on who's available and who's around. Caleb Biondo in goal. They're back for Cody Pete, Annie McLeod, Jordan Sartor and Darren Bailey. Luke Santolin in the holding role, Erky Junaline and Arthur Rattel and Isaac Donadell in midfield. Up front, Joe Priest and Johnny Ralulu, who's normally the goalkeeper. He's played 6 times in goal for them this year, but he did play 3 times on the field last year. Big Fijian presence. He's played for the national team in goal for Fiji. And here he is up front wearing the number 16 jersey, looking to cause some issues.
Yeah, he looks like he's a target man, Russ. He's pretty solid.
He might be a handful for Clements and Bourgeot this evening. Your referee is Harrison Shield in the middle, assisted by 2 young up-and-comers, Theo Dracopoulos and Harriet G., who will be the 2 assistants. This should be a cracking game. Earlier in the season, there was nothing to change, separate between the sides in round 8 in Griffith. It finished 0-0. As you mentioned before, the Rhinos have played some good football this season. They have struggled for goals, though. We mentioned this the last time we did a Rhinos commentary. Arthur Rattel on 4, Joe Priest with 3 and Darren Bailey with 2. The only players in the 11 that have scored this season, compared to the Canberra Olympic team where Bourgeot, Reinhardt, Makor, Wells, Whittier, Rains and Barach have all scored goals.
Yeah, Belconnen have got a lot of goals in their side, and you're talking about Jason Ugrinik being on the bench, who scored 20 last year. So they certainly got goals all over the park.
Speaking of the bench, Riverina Rhinos only able to name 2 substitutes today: Dean Katandaridi and Alexander Mulrooney Castellano. It's the Rhinos who get us underway. The first pass of the day is a bit shunky, and Reinhardt clips one forward, looking for Barach over the top. Might drop here on the edge of the box. Reinhardt, who scored the 2 goals last week to earn them a point, finds Wells. Early crossfield ball, looking for Mabry. Belconnen on the front foot right from the start. Looking to get off to a good start. They have been one of the form teams in the competition in recent weeks, Dean.
The last 6 or 7 weeks they've been on fire. So Yuli and Steve have certainly got them playing some fantastic football.
They're struggling to clear here, the Rhinos. Whittier tries to play it inside. It's been sent forward by Cody Pete. Clements has picked it up. Forward from Reinhardt. Lovely touch that from Cam Reinhardt. Whittier gets in behind. He's being tracked at the back. Swings it across. That was a chance. Went behind Rains. Opportunity early on, and the Rhinos haven't woken up yet. Yeah.
Young Whittier, or Woody, as he's affectionately known around the club, quite dangerous on that left-hand flank.
It's all Belconnen in the early stages. Mabry finds Rains, and he wins the first corner of the evening.
Yeah,
bright start.
Yeah, absolutely. They're dominating possession at the moment. They're playing some fluid football, playing through their flanks. Rotations are quite nice.
Daniel Barach is just jogging to the sideline. He's not in the middle where he needed to be for the corner. Not sure what that was all about. And here come the Rhinos with their first break of the evening. Here's Ralulu, who we mentioned in the commentary at the beginning, and just plays that ball forward looking for Priest, the skipper. Gives it back to Ralulu. Push and go from the big man.
It's quite handy, isn't he? Goes all right.
Looks like he played 3 times on the field earlier in the season. That ball swung into the middle by Donadell. There's no one there, though, in a green shirt. They're claiming a corner. They're not going to get one there. But yeah, looked quite handy there, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did. Speaking of quite handy, you mentioned Cam Reinhardt and his contributions last week. Just an amazing stalwart of the Belconnen United club, and certainly during my time when I was coaching, he'd always chime in with a goal or 2, important ones too.
He's picked up 3 this season, 2 in the league and 1 in the cup. That double last year's first league goals of the year. So clip ball forward. by Waters, looking for the run of Whittier.
Dusty's making an overlapping run in there if Woody can find him.
Tried to get in on the edge of the penalty. Wins himself a free kick. A little nudge there by Isaac Donadell, who was back there, and this is prime territory for Dustin Wells.
Yeah, he's scored a few free kicks here, hasn't he?
I've caught a few for him from this range. Let's see what he does. Dustin Wells teeing up the ball. Not at the best of season in front of goal for him. He's had 6 goals this year, 3 League, 3 Cup, but from someone of Wells' ability, we often expect him to get more. Let's see if he can test Biondo. Here is Wells, up and over. It's dipping, but it's just not early enough for the Belconnen Blue Devils midfielder.
He's just one of those players that just seems to get better with age.
You're kind of surprised. I watched the game last week, and he broke into the box on that left foot against Canberra FC, and we thought goal all the way, myself and Frank Asia, who was commentating then, and we were surprised the net didn't bulge when he got in. He's usually very effective in those positions.
He's a quality player, Russ, and will always cause opposition teams so many problems. He just don't seem to be able to, teams try to mark him out of the game, but he's just able to, he's just comfortable in tight areas and just able to create space for himself to get a shot off a goal.
Barrett tried to sniff there, and Jordan Sartor did well to snuff him out. Nice flick on by Ralulu. Here goes Priest through the middle. Just eased over by Clements. No free kick, says Harrison Shields. Reinhardt brings it away for Belconnen. Important that they get a result today, of course. Here's Wells. Infield to Barach. Makor stretched a leg out, and Santalin won the header. Maybury, good challenge in the middle of the park by Junalainen. Here's Rattel. The danger man for the Rhinos, Artur Rattel. Champions League and Europa League experience. Ralulu plays it forward. Caught up with him in Griffith after the Olympic game, Artur Rattel. He's got him and Erkki Junalainen, the midfielder, both Estonians. They've got an incredible story.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And how did they find their way here, Russ?
Just the opportunity, I think, came up for them.
Right.
And believe it or not, I think the wages are better in Griffith than they are playing Champions League football in Estonia. Anyway, here's Priest, the skipper, who scored a couple of goals the other week for them, bursting into the air. Good turn of pace from Joe Priest. No one in support, though, for him. No,
it seems like they've got a bit of a game plan here of counter-attacking, trying to win the ball deep and trying to catch Belconnen out. And Belconnen going to need to make sure they get those sufficient numbers back quickly.
On their last trip to the capital, they were 2-0 down to Tigers FC, and Priest scored a quick-fire double to bring them back into it, only for a late winner to deny them the points there. So they can play a bit, as we've seen beating Olympic only a couple of weeks ago.
They've been competitive, and they're getting better each year, and hopefully they continue to get better, because they're an addition to the league, Russ.
They certainly are. It's always a pleasure to watch them play. Here's Whittier, back to goal, challenged by Donadell, and that's a good foot in by Cody Pete, the young fullback. Plenty of viewers down in Griffith watching this one. We always get a good turnout of people watching this, and also plenty of people overseas as well. I understand Ian Bailey, Darren Bailey's dad, is watching this in Scotland, so a shout out to him. I hope he's enjoying watching his son play. On the left-hand side of the Rhinos' defence.
You'd be pleased to know, Russ, there were a number of Croatian people from Canberra in Zagreb that were watching the FFA Cup on Bar TV.
Loving a bit of football all around the world, no matter where it comes from. Yep. And the NPL in Canberra has certainly been unpredictable this year. There's been some great results, some incredible games, and we're still none the wiser as to who's going to be the makeup of the four, even with a round and a half to go. Here's Ralulu. Comes infield to Donadell. Back to Sato, whose chip forward is overhit. And that'll be easy for Finn Jurek, who's got rid of the beanie for tonight, doesn't need it. Feels like the weather's not too cold for him. Griffith boys were shivering a bit before kickoff. They weren't impressed. Here's Makor. Out wide, and a chance for Maybury to perhaps to bring it forward for Belconnen. Looking for Wells. Yeah. His touch was just a little too heavy. The pass in from Maybury, asking a lot of Dustin Wells.
You can see Belconnen playing with a double pivot with young Makor and Brad in midfield there, and Dusty traditional 10.
To say, Gabriel Abdallah, the coach from the Rhinos, having huge faith in young Caleb Biondo in goal. When you've got Fijian international goalkeeper playing us up front as well. To have the faith in the youngster who did so well against Canberra Olympic a fortnight ago. Touch from Rains was a bit rusty. There'll be a chance for a throw by which Bailey will take.
Like it, Russ Rains, Rust.
Wish
Clever.
I could claim that I thought of that. Here is Rains. Not that clever myself. Here's Maybury. Wins the free kick. Early stages on Bar TV Sports, no score. Belconnen United, Riverina Rhinos. Just to let you know what the state of play. Tigers 22 points from 13 games. Belconnen 21 from 14. So a win today for Belconnen United will put them back into the four ahead of next week's big match down at Nijong where Tigers FC play Belconnen. Bit of a fixture congestion for the Tigers towards the end of the season. Of course, they'll have the rearranged game against Belconnen, against Canberra Olympic rather. And of course, on Wednesday they play Gungahlin as well.
It's an exciting couple of weeks coming up, Russ, and Belconnen need to win this particular fixture to have any chance of putting that pressure on Cooma and getting into the four.
It's an incredible state of affairs. We never would have thought when the fixture list came out that we'd be looking at that kind of scenario heading into the final round. And Tuggeranong United, who a few weeks ago looked quite comfortable in the four, they play Monero Panthers tomorrow. And would it be expected to get the result at Greenway? But it's not a given the way Monero have been playing as well. So a lot on that one tomorrow as well. No,
and I think the Monero game against Tuggeranong last year undid them.
I think he probably did, yeah. They almost undid them this year at Gugong. They were 3-0 down before winning 4-3. Yeah. Here comes a run from Junalainen into the penalty area, and defensively that was well done by Phil Bourgeot.
Yeah.
And a chance for Makor, who pulls the strings in the middle of the field for Belconnen's. Had a good season, the youngster. He'd be in your plans maybe for Youth League action, perhaps, Dean? One that you might look at, Adrian Makor?
As an overage player, yes.
Plenty of them around, isn't there, to pick from this season?
We've got quite a few, yeah. It's been certainly before leaving, we got to watch a lot of games, and as you say, there's some excellent talent coming through here in Canberra.
Fair bit in this Riverina team as well. Might be worth a look at. Here's Rattel. He's been one of the best midfielders in the competition this year. Put in the engine room. Santolin helps it wide. Was clipped in towards the middle, towards Raululu, but slightly overhit there. And Belconnen could bring away Reinhardt. Nice switch of play that is to Dustin Wells. Can he bring it under his spell? Wells tries his luck from distance, and why not? We've seen him strike them from there before. Dustin Wells, ambitious, but not far away.
It was a lovely diagonal knock by Reinhardt there. But you see just how clever Dusty. You saw Danny Budach make a run to the near post, and Dustin Wells drifting off to the far post and find some space. And the Riverina boys are going to have to watch Dusty.
Certainly caught a piece of it. Flicked on towards Raululu. But Clements was there to beat him. Here he is again, Isaac Clements. Nice touchdown from Wells. Finds Whittier. Reinhardt made the run. It's opened the space up for Whittier to come in field. Here's Barach. Rains is on his bike through the middle. Marty Rains defensively. Sartor does well though. Gets rid of it. Only as far as Wells. Bit of space out wide if he can send it, but Junalainen's boot gets in the way. And Wells wins it back, but at the cost of a free kick for a foul on the Estonian midfielder. Belconnen looking lively.
Yeah, they are, but credit to Riverina. They're defending quite well. That last line's nice and compact. Tracking runners in behind.
Gabby Wilk may well be tuning into this one, hoping for a Riverina to cause a bit of an upset. Their form's been outstanding, hasn't it? Tigers in the last few weeks. They've just been in such good form going forward, and they've tightened up defensively as well, and they're very exciting to watch.
By all accounts, last night they were worthy leaders against Canberra Olympic, who are one of the obviously in the top two. Gabby would be very disappointed that the heavens opened up as they did.
Feel a little bit for Nicolas Vigefanier as well, who scored for the 8th successive NPL match yesterday.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be pushing towards some sort of record, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
He's certainly been an outstanding acquisition. We've had some good overseas players in Canberra, but he's up there with some of the best, I think.
You tend to find that Cooma tend to do that. They tend to get better as the season rolls on.
One of the dark horses for the finals, if they get there. Long way to go still. is Bourgeot. Belconnen will have a lot to say about that, as will Tuggeranong United and as will the teams they're all playing between now and the end of the season. Here's Wells. And we are still on track, of course, for a small matter of a championship showdown between FC and Olympic on the fixture-free weekend in 2 weeks. Whittier switches play, but overhits.
It'll be like a mini grand final, that one, Russ.
Everywhere you look at the fixture list, Dino, I said this last week to Frank, there was every game this week has something on it, and every game next week you've got Canberra FC, Tuggeranong, Tigers, Belconnen as well, and those two matches are huge in the outcome of the season. The rearranged games, Tigers versus Gungahlin, Tigers versus Olympic, and of course Olympic versus FC. There's masses to play for before we even touch finals.
Yeah, it's an extremely exciting month of football here in Canberra.
Here's Rattel looking for the overlap of Priest coming in. Mabry thought about the nudge and then pulled himself away from it, and Durack does well to send that away just for a moment there.
And probably a good thing he did too, Russ.
Zach Mabry using all of its experience.
Riverina have seemed to have weathered the storm, Russ, and they're in it.
They certainly are. Nothing to choose between the two teams at the moment. No real chances at either ends. Ralulu can't get a touch on it. Coming up to 14 minutes gone, live on Bar TV Sports. McKellar Park, the venue. Belconnen United 0, Riverina Rhinos 0. Tomorrow, we have a huge match in the women's WMPL from Gungahlin Enclosed. It's 4th v 5th. Gungahlin versus Canberra Olympic. Both teams level on points. Not much in it on goal difference either, so that one's huge with a couple of rounds left in the women's game as well. Games coming thick and fast in the Canberra Premier League, men's and women's, and all as important as each other. Here's Rattel looking for the run ahead of him. Priest almost got in. Might break for Raululu here. He gets it onto that left foot. Here's Johnny Raululu. And Durack came out, and it was a combination of him and Phil Bourgeot, which denies the big Fijian.
Yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity there for Riverina. Phil has done awfully well to get a toe on that, and Finn too, closing down the angle. It's a good opportunity, and Belconnen would want to be a little bit careful.
Once again, Rattel, the orchestrator of everything good that Riverina are doing in an attacking sense. It's a corner, and there's plenty of green shirts to aim for. Good movement by Bailey to the near post. It is Bailey who wins it, but it came off his shoulder rather than his head, and that was a chance for the Scotsman.
He's certainly causing Belconnen some problems, the number 10, isn't he? He's a quality player.
The midfielder who's caused many issues for many Canberra sides throughout the year. Tracking back here to get close to Wells. It's Jun London making that effort. Little 1-2 between Wells and Rains. Nicely done. And that's slightly overhit for Barach, who will get on his bike and try and get there. And he reaches it and does well, actually. And then rush the cutback. It's going to fall for Mabry, though. The fullback finds Barach. Lifts it in towards Rains. And Riverina get it away, but it's going to come straight back again, you'd think. Rains in the corner. Mabry swings it in. Whittier on the far post. And the defending from Pete was enough to make sure that Whittier didn't get a firm contact.
Belconnen certainly looked dangerous when Dusty sits in those in between those lines and starts combining with people like, with players like Marty Rains and with Danny Barach. Riverina want to keep a close eye on Dusty, particularly in those little pockets.
Massive kick from Biondo, way beyond halfway. Comes back there from Reinhardt to Whittier. And that's a good challenge from Sartor coming across. Late inclusion at centre-back, Jordan Sartor. Barach. Reinhardt. Here's Wells. Clips it in towards the far post. Rains is unmarked. Chance for Marty Rains to bring it down and fire it goalward. But not enough pace to trouble Biondo. We look to get Rattel away quickly, and they've rather coughed it up here again. And Belconnen looking to keep the pressure on Maycor out wide to Rains. That was a chance there, Dean, for Marty Rains.
Yeah, well, Marty's taken it down and unfortunately just didn't get enough on it. He's certainly very dangerous when he gets into those particular areas.
What I like about this front three of Whittier, Rains and Barach is it's ever moving. You never know who's going to be in which position, and they interchange very well. Barach is down the centre at the moment as Mabry finds Rains wide. Lifts it in towards the far post, and that's easy for Biondo.
Well, not only are they good on the ground, Russ, but they're capable in the air too. So it just gives Belconnen options to play either, past the line, the last line, or in the air.
17 goals in all competitions for the front three, 12 in the league. Barach with 7 in the league, 9 overall, and Rains and Whittier both with 4 each in all competitions. Not a bad return.
It's a pretty lethal front three. And when you throw in that, Jason Ugrinic on the bench and young Lucas, it's pretty good. It's pretty decent lineup. There we go.
Here's a chance for Rains out wide. Wells finds him with the outside of the boot. Here's an opportunity. Blue Devils players flooding forward in support of Marty Rains. Look for Wells. Didn't pick up any of them in the end, and Pete clears. And just hoiks it forward towards Raululu. Clements wins it. It's not been the best of years in front of goal for Jason Ugrinic, though, has it? He's only scored the 2 this season, but he's ready to burst into action at any stage. Maybe that break's got him refreshed. You'd know better than anyone, Dean.
Well, I think I think they maybe it was a little bit more of an expectation on him this season, and maybe the formation that they were playing earlier on in the year may not have suited him.
Does happen though when you score 20 plus goals. That doesn't happen by accident.
No.
All of a sudden you become a bit more marked.
Exactly right. But I'm sure that, as you say, he's had 6 weeks or 5 weeks in gallivanting in Europe. He'll be refreshed, ready to go if he's called upon.
Champion at the bit to get his team into finals, which the 11 on the field are currently trying to do. Free kick, foul on Maycor.
There's only one criticism I have of the front three, is just that when they do break that last line or the defensive line and get into those dangerous areas, if they can just pick out players.
Well, here's Whittier skipping past the challenge of Donadell and past Santolin. Barach. It's going to break for Rattel here. If he gets on the end of this, he can be dangerous, and he's just ghosted past a couple of runners there. Not much up in support, though. Only Raululu has to take his time and brings Junalainen into play. Bailey's busting a gut to get outside him. Rattel. Here is Bailey. Good ball into the penalty area and a good clearance by Bourgeot.
They break quite nicely, don't they? And they break in numbers. Belconnen need to be a bit careful.
Very open field to it, isn't it? Barach gets after this. Sartor's chasing back with him. Good battle this has been. Barach might get the better of this and concedes a free kick. It feels like we're going to get goals, doesn't it?
It does. It's just need to be a little bit smarter when they get the ball into that final third and into the penalty area. And both teams, and Belconnen have been in there quite a number of times. They just seem to not be able to pick a pass.
And that's been the story of the Rhinos season. Their approach play has been excellent. They just haven't had that lethal finisher to get them across the line. Lovely touch by Raululu, finds Priest from the angle. Here is Priest, opportunity. Joe Priest to pull it back, but Belconnen do well. Clements and Bourgeot between them get it away, and Reinhardt will complete the clearance. It's a willing runner. Joe Priest gets into some good runs down those channels.
He's doing well. He's up against a pretty experienced back four. It's very solid. It's played, I suspect, about 600 games for Belconnen over the years.
We can see already how much of a threat that Raululu is in the air and on the floor. You can see why they put him up there. That didn't look like it went out of play from where I was. But Theodrokopoulos here says it's a throw. It's unlucky for Jordan Sartor. Didn't look like the whole of the ball had gone out of play. Belconnen won't care though. Cam Reinhardt will take over throw-in duties. Looking for a runner. It's the ever-willing Barach who provides the option. Now Reinhardt. Nice feet there in the middle of the park. Here they come again though. Here's Whittier. Popping off there, and here's Whittier again. It was Maycor who was involved once more, and it's his touch last week that opened up. Beautiful layer for Reinhardt, wasn't it? Well, they've won themselves a corner here, Dean, but it was a good touch for Reinhardt's second goal last week, wasn't it? Great break, super. Lovely ball.
Yeah, super. And Belconnen have been, they're quite effective when they start playing those little passes and those little combination passes. And if they continue in that vein, I'm sure, and they're patient, they'll break this down, or break the Riverina down.
They've got a corner here. Wells over the ball. He's going to go short. Create a better angle for the second cross. It's a deep one towards the far post. And that's a good piece of defending by Luke Santolin to get the touch to concede the corner on the far side.
Belconnen putting a little bit of pressure on at the moment. Riverina going to need to see this out.
It's just been the pattern of the game, really, isn't it? Belconnen have had the pressure, but it's been on the break that Riverina have looked dangerous. The Rhinos have only left Raululu prowling alone furrow up front. He's just strolling around. Every other green shirt back in this penalty area defending this corner. It's short and pulled back to Reinhardt. Lays it off towards Brad Waters, whose touch didn't quite go where he wanted it. Now, problem here for Maybury, and his touch was heavy, and he was fortunate that he got just enough on it.
Yeah,
and I think free kick.
And you can see the dangers of a short corner or a short play there, and you know, if Riverina do happen to win it, you can just see that they're ready to explode.
Wasn't sure that Waters was quite ready for that corner. He didn't seem to know what he was doing with it. That's a nice take from beyond there at the back.
Well, it's a perfect opportunity to expose Belconnen, because it was a 3v2.
It's another hefty kick from beyond, though. It might come for Priest, who gets away from Maybury at the back. Joe Priest. Rattel. Priest once again. Nicely worked. Rattel. Looking for Lulu, who peeled away, but the pass didn't quite find him. Now Durack wants to go quickly, but look at this. Whittier. 2 green shirts around him, like moths to a flame very quickly, weren't they? And that's beautifully done by Sam Whittier.
Riverina seem to be warming into the game, Russ, and their enthusiasm is, you can see it lifting, and it's getting them into the contest.
Maybe it's shaking out that long journey by car. They may understand they all came in separate cars today. It's a long way from Griffith to here. And a chilly Canberra evening for some MPL football. They're doing well at the moment, though. No score. There's Rains, who's probably had the best chance of the game so far. Like I said, next week's action, the Rhinos are back at home. They play Woden Western, which will be a good test for them next Saturday. Plenty of pace in that Woden Western side, as you saw today.
They were awfully unlucky, as I said earlier on. They've actually a much improved side, and if they continue to build, that particular side, I think next year they could very well be a force in the competition.
Yeah, Frey Castro can keep the vultures from circling, so to speak, trying to pick off his talented young players and bring them to the traditionally more successful clubs in Canberra. Then hopefully he can keep his team together, and there'll be another threat for the top 4 next year.
I hope so, because I seriously I've watched them compete effectively against the side that was on top of the table, and they're only 1 or 2 players away from being genuine top 4 contenders.
Here's Barach. And the Rhinos themselves aren't far off. They've had 3 points deducted, of course, this year for player points issues, but that would have put them on 16. And they've been in most of the games as well against Tigers, and as you said, they beat Olympic, and they've had some good results too. So if they can get it together next season as well and just build a bit more depth and maybe find a striker who can get them 10, 15 goals a season, they'll be a threat too. Makor tries to find Barach, and he's kept that in.
It's certainly the first year that I've seen. Yeah, I'm not sure if that went out, Russ, but it's certainly the first season in a long time that I can recall where, every game has been quite difficult. It's been a contest.
Which is only good for the competition. Here's Donatel's.
Absolutely.
Rattel. Junalainen finds Priest. Nice build-up again. It's asking a bit too much of Bailey. Here's Rains. Good turn by Marty Rains. Maybury outside. Huge experience from Zach Maybury. Lovely touch from Rains. Real chance here for Belconnen. Brilliantly moved. And that was a good chance for Wells, I think, in the end. And good piece of defending to deny the forward.
Yeah, when Zach moves into that on that right-hand side into that last line, and they start doing those small little combination plays around the edge, you can just see that they tear open a defensive line. It's quite effective.
I think it was McLeod who got in the way there, the big Scottish defender. Did enough, as it looked like Belconnen were going to take the lead.
Belconnen, just be patient here and just continue in this particular vein, and I'm sure that something will open up for them.
Reinhardt.
They're moving the ball about quite nicely now, aren't they?
They certainly are, and they're doing it again now. Waters finds Makor, back to Waters again, and now wide for Maybury. Lovely little interchange of football, and here's Rains getting in, and across goes McLeod again. Gets the toe in. Important figure in the Rhinos' defence, the centre-back, Ali McLeod. Another Scotsman. With two Scots in the back four, I'm not sure how Jordan Sartor and Cody Peat understands what's going on. Very broad Scottish accents, the pair of them. Don't know what it is, but when a Scotsman shouts at you, it can be quite intimidating, can't it?
Yeah.
Ball comes in, Reigns wins a header, and the deflection is pushed wide by Biondo for a corner.
Putting a lot of pressure on the Rhinos here, Russ, and they really need to make this, well, Belconnen need to make this count, or this particular pressure count.
For those of you that don't know, if you're wondering why Dean keeps slipping into the first person as the ball comes in, he was head coach of Belconnen United for a number of years. It still runs through your blood, I think.
Oh, it does.
It's difficult, isn't it,
does.
to get rid of it?
Oh, look, I played here at the club, for many years, and coached here for for 4 years and a couple of grand finals. It is hard sometimes to let it go.
And now you're moving on to the next chapter with the Canberra United youth team, and that'll be a very interesting job for you to take on there.
It's going to certainly be challenging, Russ. I'm looking forward to it, though.
Reinhardt's ball forwards, header from McLeod, and took enough pace off it. For a moment, it looked like he was going to leave Biondo stranded. Knew what he was doing, though, and there's another one of those hefty hoiks into the night sky. Clements wins the battle with Raululu. Rattel picks it up, and the ball forward from Donadell is poked out for a throw. Peach will take. As you said, the Rhinos growing into it a bit. Here's Raululu. Slightly heavy touch by the big fella, and it's a throw to the Belconnen Blue Devils.
Well, I think they've dealt with everything that Belconnen's thrown at them reasonably well. Belconnen are obviously shading them possession-wise, but when the Rhinos do catch them on a counter, they look quite dangerous. It'll be interesting. It's a bit of an arm wrestle at the moment.
You're watching live football on Bar TV Sports from the MPL in Canberra. Belconnen United 0, Riverina Rhinos 0, coming up to the half-hour mark of what's been an intriguing contest. No real goal threats at either end at the moment. Bit of a midfield battle, if you like. Sartor goes back to Biondo, who's probably been the busier of the two goalkeepers. Here he goes again, sending it forward, but it's one in the middle of the park by Waters. It's going to find its way back to the goalkeeper, clad all in pink tonight. Reinhardt happy to let that go for a throw right in front of the Rhinos bench. Wells finds Waters. Maybury. Reigns has peeled away to the right, as he likes to do. Gives him an opportunity to drift in field. Look to exchange passes with Waters and goes down under the challenge, and he's going to win himself a free kick here, I think. Yeah,
again, when Zach Maybury chimes into that second last line and that last line, the furthest line, sorry, you can just see that they're creating those extra men in those wide areas, and it's very positive for Belconnen when that happens.
Well, with Junalainen pushing in midfield to support Rattel, it's leaving Bailey 2-on-1 down there, isn't it, with Maybury out wide and Reigns when he's helping him out, and it's causing the defender a fair few issues.
Yeah, they're just slow to shuffle over there, and they just need to be aware of that danger.
Set piece opportunity for Belconnen. Wells swings it into the cluster of players. It's one on the far post. The header was goalward, but it was away. It was Bourgeot who had come up to win it. And the Rhinos clear again, keeping the pressure away from their young keeper. It's Junalainen, Santalin. Well, here they come forward again. Bailey's pass, though, is overhit. Chance for Belconnen to get a spell of football once more. Coming up to a quarter of an hour or so to go to half-time. Maybury to take the throw. Maycor back to Maybury. Reigns caught late there. Zach Maybury.
Yeah,
he's going to get a free kick.
He was going to play advantage there and let it go, and then blew it back. But again, Zach in those forward areas is just creating lots of problems
Dustin
for him
Wells
on that right-hand flank.
But Wells, unsurprisingly, just sauntering over to take the dead ball.
Well, it's interesting.
See, hold that thought a second as Wells swings it in. Good one, too. And it was Santalin who won the header to clear it. And here's a break, perhaps, for the Rhinos. Opportunity for them to bring it forward, but it's out of play. Sartor's touch was a bit heavy. Belconnen looking to get on the front foot again, but if he could have kept that in, Sartor, there was a chance. Here's Wells. Back is the defender again, Sartor. He's been everywhere in the first half an hour.
You can see that Belconnen are vulnerable on the break, so particularly on those sorts of set pieces where, you know, such as free kicks or corners, when the Rhinos do break, seem to find a little bit of space and they accelerate forward quite nicely.
Well, another set piece and another opportunity for Dustin Wells maybe to pick out a blue shirt. Swings it in, another good one. Biondo comes, gets a fist on it. Rains drives it back in. It's ricocheting about in the air. Opportunity here and struck on someone on the goal line, I think it was, and away for a corner.
Awfully unlucky.
Not sure who hit that in the end. Was that Waters, perhaps? Shot came in. It definitely took a deflection. I think it was, in fact, Bourgeot cut from the back who got a piece of it. Here they are again, though, up in the ante. Rains, good swinger in. Opportunity on the far post, and no one in a blue shirt can get a touch, and another wonderful delivery. They're getting closer, but the Rhinos still holding firm.
Yeah, they're still in it. It's they're certainly applying a lot of pressure. Some good set pieces, some good quality balls. They've just got to make these balls count. Take these opportunities when they present themselves.
But there's no wind at all tonight, is there? There's not even the slightest of breeze across McKellar, which is rather unusual for this venue.
Stunning evening. Yeah.
Many times I've been here in the past and it's been absolutely freezing, but it's actually all right. As Ralulu flicks it on, looking for Priest. Well won in the air by Bourgeot.
Phil Bourgeot has got a vertical leap that's second to none here in the ACT, Russ.
And having Isaac Clements alongside him as well has really shorn up this defence.
Yeah, they took a little while to get that back four together. I would say that it's no coincidence that they've been doing quite well.
Here they come again. Barrach finds Whittier. Swings it into the area. It comes off of Sartor for yet another Belconnen corner. Clements is jogging forward to join the attack, and Bourgeot, who went close a moment ago, he'll insert himself into a danger area as well, no doubt. Only Ralulu up front for the Rhinos. Shown himself to be a willing target, but needs a bit of support when they break. First of all, though, they need to defend. And Belconnen have been getting ever closer with these set pieces. Here's Wells again. Another delicious-looking ball in, and great piece of defending by Bailey. Not only did he get a head on it, he got some distance on it as well. There's only a blue shirt to pick it up, though, via Maybury, and Makos sweeps that wide nicely towards the path of Rains, but just too hard for the forwards. But they're getting closer.
They are getting closer, although the Rhinos are generally dealing with the set pieces okay. Just Belconnen would be a little bit disappointed that they haven't taken one of these opportunities that have presented themselves.
Well, if you're of a Blue Devils persuasion, you probably don't want to hear what I'm about to say, but this reminds me an awful lot of the game in Riverina against Olympic a couple of weeks ago. Here's the ball into the penalty area, and again, the Rhinos defend. Sartor clears it. They did a lot of defending that day, and they stole it on the break with a minute to go.
Funny you should say that. I was speaking with Dom Giampalo, who was talking about that particular game to me this afternoon, and said very much the same thing.
It's got that same sort of feeling about it right about now, which is probably music to the ears of Gabby Wilk and the Tigers crew. Belconnen doing all the pressing. Here's Reinhardt looking to step in field.
Belconnen aren't doing a lot wrong. It's they just need to keep patient, keep knocking the ball around, and an opportunity will present themselves.
And you need to take it. I think that was,
and then you need to take it.
Because that's what Olympic did exactly the same and just couldn't find that finish.
No.
That's a lovely touch from Barrach, though, and again, Sartor's there.
I think if they do get into those particular areas, particularly in those wide areas, if they go careful and clinical with a pass and try to find a teammate in a better position, goal-scoring position, I'm sure that they'll be able to get an opportunity, score.
Gabriel Abdallah will be happy with his size defending at the moment. If they can see this one through to half-time, they might lift again in the second half. It gives you another leg, doesn't it?
Well, I think if he can get into half-time at 0-0, and he'll take that, he can just reset and start all over again.
Maybe they can go one better. Ralulu was there. Priest wins the throw. Joe Priest, 3 goals this season. I've seen him play in midfield and out wide and up front. It's a good throw that from Donadell. His Santalin made the move forwards. Bit isolated in the middle of the park, though. And Belconnen win it back. His Waters wide to Rains.
Yeah, Dusty making a forward run again.
Barach through the middle.
Here
is Daniel Barach. Biondo's coming out to get there. Barach wins it. Biondo goes down, and that is a penalty to Belconnen. Barach got there. The touch took it away from the keeper, who was committed to the challenge, and he brings down Daniel Barach and gets a yellow card for his troubles, and here's a chance for Belconnen to make the breakthrough.
I think there was no doubt that was a penalty. You could see Dustin making a run out wide right that split that defence, and a lovely ball into the gap that was created by Dusty to Barach, and pretty clear-cut penalty for mine.
Yeah, absolutely. Barach, as soon as he got a touch on it, you knew it was going to be a penalty. Biondo committed himself. He had to, I think, because if Barach had got there, it was a great goal-scoring opportunity. Here is Belconnen United's main man stepping up to the spot, Dustin Wells. Huge moment in the season for Belconnen United. Huge moment in the season for Tigers FC and everyone in the league. Wells scores into the corner. Perhaps a game-defining goal, perhaps a season-defining goal. Dustin Wells, Belconnen 1, Riverina 0.
Yeah, it's taken a little while, 38 minutes, but they've got there. And it may very well be, the icebreaker. And was never in doubt, was it really, once Dustin Wells stepped up to the plate.
Ice cool, ice calm when he needed to be. We talked about Thomas James and big game players stepping up for big game moments. Here's another one. Huge moment in the season that you never know when you look back in a couple of weeks' time about how important that could be to just stroll forward like he's done, like he was just taking one in a training match, really, wasn't it? Just strolled it, struck it past Biondo.
Ice cool. Yeah, he's the player that you want in these types of situations. I can only think back to the grand final last year where Dustin Wells was just absolutely outstanding for us, for Belconnen.
There it is. I think it was Wells' free kick that created the goal for Nick Dahl right on half-time, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was.
That was the crucial moment in that game that put Belconnen 2 up against Olympic. Here's Priest through the middle. Chance for the Rhinos. Immediate response, perhaps. Joe Priest, and that's a good piece of defending. It was by Clements.
Unfortunately, it was such a poor touch, and it sort of went in behind him. If he had taken a better touch in front of him, he might have been able to get a better strike on his left foot.
But there's a warning if the Blue Devils needed one. Carved open by one ball from Rattel. Bailey. Rains goes into the challenge, wins the ball. Priest snapping at his heels. A little bit disappointing with himself, I think, that he didn't bring his side level. They were 2 down against the Tigers and they came back, so this one's far from done.
Look, they're a side that can come back from setbacks, Russ, and they've proven that over the course of the season. Belconnen, it's a timely reminder for them that that some of these players from Riverina can play, and they're quite dangerous.
His Whittier.
Game's not over.
Going forward, Whittier past Sartor. Can't get past Pete though. And here come the Rhinos. Rattel. They can get this man on the ball in dangerous positions and anything could happen. He's got himself a free kick. Junalainen wants to go quickly. Here's Rattel.
I think he's relishing playing on this park, Russ.
Certainly is. Ralulu. Oh, nicely done by Johnny Ralulu. Whittier goes shoulder to shoulder with Big Fijian. He's worked hard up front.
He's going all right.
Like I said, he played 3 games there last year, so he's not a stranger to playing up the top. Santolin's touch. Picked off by Clements. Whittier. Just to put the gas down. Still going Whittier. That's lovely done. Sam Whittier's grown into this season. As I say, that gives the ball away, obviously.
He's had an extended run in the side, Sam. He's always suffered from being into the side and out of the side. But in the last 7 or 8 weeks, as we
Junalainen's ball over the top, and the flag did go up against Ralulu.
And I think he's relished the opportunity, taken it with 2 hands, and enjoying not having that pressure, maybe of securing his spot in the side. And he's a very decent player. We've always had a lot of time for young Woody.
Been amongst the goals recently. Got a brace against the Monero Panthers a couple of weeks ago in round 15, helping Belconnen to a 3-0 win. Here's Rattel looking to lift the ball over the top. Nice idea. Tell you what, if they keep giving him that much space to create, they're going to pay the penalty eventually, you think?
I'm sure that Steve Steve and Yuli would have picked that all up and hopefully addressed that at half-time.
Nice turn from Priest. Still going, Joe Priest. Now Rattel, space again for him. Picks the runner, Bailey. Darren Bailey into the box. Good save by Durack. Is it going to fall for Raul Lulu? It's back for Priest, who blasts it well over the crossbar and down towards where all the pythons and the adders and everything else lives.
It's all been Rhinos since the penalties got in, and Belconnen have stopped playing, and I think they felt that maybe the game's over, but it's not, and they want to refocus and reset themselves.
A chance there for the Rhinos. Bit of a snake pit behind that goal, isn't it, in the summer? Not less so in the winter. I wouldn't go fetching a ball down there. Wells touch for Reigns. Going to win a free kick, is he? No. That's a throw-in. You never had to fetch a ball, did you, Dean?
Look, I can rest assured, Russ, I've gone in there and looking for some of those footballs, particularly shooting training. But generally, we try to get the boys to hit the back of the net because I know that it's not pleasant.
Yeah, you're treading lightly, aren't you?
You want to make as much noise as possible.
Here's Reinhardt.
You start looking for the ball.
Looking for Whittier. Be a bit cold for them right this time of year, you'd imagine. Reinhardt swings it in. I'm no snake expert, obviously. Barrett's challenging. Comes to Maybury to shift it wide. Wells, whose penalty separates the teams. Just rolls it into the area and it's stabbed away by McLeod. Now here's Rattel with space once more. And a good ball forward to Priest. It's 3-on-2 at the moment at the back, just in favour of the Blue Devils. And that's going to come off for a Rhinos throw. Lulu back to Rattel. Junalainen in support. Rattel again. Pretty much everything goes through him, doesn't it?
Oh, he's quality, and I think if
Sartor's ball, looking for Santolin, who'd been released from the shackles of a more defensive role.
Certainly, if I was the Rhinos coach, I'd be asking my players to find him as often as possible. He's able to find a pass. Not only is he dangerous, but he can find a pass.
Speaking of finding a pass, that's a cracker from Wells, looking for Whittier. He's away from Pete here, Sam Whittier, into the area, still going, and that had to be a well-timed challenge from Sartor. Otherwise, we may have been staring down the barrel of a second spot kick. Hard, firm and fair.
Yeah, no, it was definitely no penalty, but he's causing a few problems on that left-hand flank. There's no doubt about it.
Stoppage time at the end of the first half, live on Bar TV Sports, a penalty from Dustin Wells, separating the two sides, and it is that man, Wells, who has the set-piece duties once more. Looking for an option, thought about going short, then goes long. Well, one in the air, though, at the back by Bailey once again. Good header forward, gets some fair distance on them, which is good for his defence. Here's Reigns, beaten to it by Donadell, can't keep it in there. Reinhardt wants to go quickly, time running out at the end of this half. There was Junalainen, lovely touch from Wells, but the flag is up against Barach.
Was lovely, wasn't it?
Silky. I mean, there was just a little bit of weight on it, perfect weight over the top.
I know I'm accused of having a man crush on him, but after watching him for 4 years, in training environment, you just appreciate just how good he actually is.
If you're watching and you don't know much about Dustin Wells, he had A-League experience with the New Zealand Knights and a spell with Sydney FC as well.
Yeah, yep.
Well won by Clements, and that is half-time. Harrison Shield blows the whistle. We've enjoyed that first half, and it's been pretty open, and Belconnen probably on the balance of play deserve their lead.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they've certainly been the better team. They've created more of the opportunities. Or having said that, though, the Rhinos have had some opportunities themselves. They're still in they're still in the contest.
None more so than skipper Joe Priest, who had a couple of chances after Belconnen had taken the lead, and if he could have been a little bit more calm in those situations, and if they keep getting Rattel into space, they're going to cause problems.
I think Steve and Ulysses are going to have to potentially just address their defensive structures, particularly when they're committing so many players forward, Russ.
Well, while they do that, Dean, we'll take a quick break, and everyone else can go and, if you're at home, make yourself a cup of tea, or Saturday night, maybe crack open a beer or two, glass of wine. Half-time here at McKellar Park, live on Bar TV Sports. Hope you join us for the second half. A Dustin Wells penalty separates the two sides. It's Belconnen United 1, Riverina Rhinos 0. Welcome back to McKellar Park in the second half of this NPL match between Belconnen United and Riverina Rhinos. Thanks for tuning in wherever you're watching us around the world. Belconnen United lead at half-time by Dustin Wells. Penalty 2-0. They line up as they ended the first half. Durack in goal, Mabry, Bourgeot, Clements, Reinhardt, Maycourt, Wells, Waters, Whittier, Rains, Barach. No changes from what I can see either for the Rhinos. Biondo in goal, Pete McLeod, Sartor, Bailey at left-back, Santolin, Junilon and Rattel, Donadel, Priest and Raul Lulu. At half-time, Dean, I'd like to catch up on some of the comments online, and Alan Rees has been particularly vocal today. You know, Alan Rees from Belconnen, Masters player. He suggested that you pick Makel's dad as an overage player in the Y-League this year.
In the Y-League.
Not sure if that's a probability.
I think he might be referring to his uncle.
His uncle.
Danny, yeah.
Probably. Probably got a little bit more football nous than, I don't know, did Rick play?
I'm not sure. Might have done so in his younger years.
May well have done, and picked up a comment from Eric Stewart. I think he might be watching in Scotland. He was off for a pie and a bovril at half-time. Probably too hot over there for pie and a bovril this time of year, I think, as Wells chases on this one. Sartor's back, nods it back to the keeper. I'd like to give a shout-out as well to young Lucas Patterson, who's the nephew of Darren Bailey, the left-back here. I understand he tunes in quite regularly overseas to watch his uncle playing for the Rhinos. So if Lucas is watching today, I hope you're enjoying watching your uncle play, and maybe he can get involved and score a goal. Here he is. Got 2 already this season. Junilon pops that into midfield. Nice turn from Rattel. Snapped into by Mako. Lovely challenge by him, and he looks to send Barach off on a run, but Bailey's back there and does well to defend. And back to Biondo. They did that very well in the first half defensively, didn't they? The back four from the Rhinos were very solid.
Yeah, they were very good, very compact, very tight, diligent, tracked runners. It was really only going to be a matter of time, though, that Belconnen were going to, potentially open them up and take advantage of that. And
they got their goal 6 minutes before the interval. Dustin Wells from the penalty spot, his 7th goal in all competitions this season, his 4th in the league. Perhaps none as important, though. Only time will tell, I guess. At the moment, Belconnen up into 4th place on 24 points, 2 points ahead of the Tigers, both having played 14 matches. 15 matches to 13 rather.
Well, they all breathed a sigh of relief following.
It's a chance,
following
perhaps.
The abandonment of the game last night, Russ, with Kuma 2-0 up.
Unless something incredible happens here, this one's going to go the distance. Durack steps away from Priest.
So comfortable with his feet, isn't he?
Maycourt finds it Mabry on this near side. Whittier, who's swapped wings for the second half, looks to go at Bailey, who wins the initial challenge but then loses back out to Whittier. Wells operating from deep. Nice switch of play to Reinhardt. Chips it forward. This is a good build-up from the Blue Devils, and Sartor was challenging with Rains. Helped out by Donadel. It's only fallen for Reinhardt, though. Swings it towards the far post. Whittier's there with a header, looping into the back of the net. A goal that his endeavour has deserved. A huge moment for Sam Whittier, massive moment for Belconnen United. Is that the goal that keeps him in the top 4 by the end of the evening? It's 2-0.
It could very well be. He's actually taken that very well, took the pace, looped it up over the goalkeeper, didn't hit it too hard, went back in the direction that the ball came in, and it's ended up in the back of the net, and perfect timing too, just after half-time.
3 minutes into the second half, the Blue Devils taking control of this match and their own destiny. They still have a long way to go this season. They've still got something to say about it, of course. The Rhinos need a response, like they gave against the Tigers last week. They were 2 down, came back to 2-2 before being pipped to the post there. Have they got it in them again?
Well, Belconnen certainly can't underestimate them. After they scored the first goal in the first half, they created a chance almost immediately.
Mabry. Whittier. Bailey stands him up. Mabry's made the run forwards. He's kept himself onside. Junilon's there with a touch. It's a throw to Belconnen, looking to turn the screw.
Again, Zach moving forward in those on the touchline there on the paint. It just causes so many problems.
Barach. Mabry beaten to it by Donadel. Yet another throw-in. In towards Barach. Challenge was strong by Bailey. It's a corner. Belconnen United leading goals in either half. Wells and Whittier doing the damage so far.
The Rhinos just going to need to see out this little period.
Wells, no one's come short with Waters. Got loads of time to pick across. Finds one on the far post, and it was a little nick off of McLeod, I think. Yeah. Centre back from the Isle of Skye. Tells me he likes Griffith because it was quiet. I'm not as quiet as the Isle of Skye. I'm not sure how many people live on the Isle of Skye. Can't be that big, can it? Said it's nice and quiet and out in the country there, and Griffith loves it. Ball comes in, nice header, but not enough purchase on it, and then yet another corner. There's been a succession of these at the start of the second half.
Like I said, it's a dangerous little period for the Rhinos. It could go south very quickly if they don't they don't defend this and they concede another goal.
Belconnen came into the game unbeaten in 5, 3 wins out of the last 4, looking to extend that to 6 and 4 from 5, and well on the way of doing it at the moment. Although Rangers cross is going to find Wells more by luck than judgment, I believe. What Rhinos need is some sort of response. As I mentioned before, only the 2 substitutes for the Rhinos today. Full bench for Belconnen United to pick on.
And it's a pretty solid bench too, Russ.
Wells swings it in. Here's a chance. Opportunity, but Bailey was there. He needed to be because Biondo didn't get enough on it. That's what you want from a defender, covering your keeper. Waters rather slices that one to Raululu. He's a long way from goal. Does well. Finds Donadel. Rattel looking to return the pass and does. And chance for the Rhinos to get forward. Donadel. Junalainen all a bit too close and compact though. And it's Maybury once more who asked a lot of Whittier, who does exceptionally well to stretch and keep it in. Bailey was there though. And Biondo, whose touch is again a little bit short. He's looked uncertain here in his reins. Real chance here. This could be 3, should be 3. Barach still going. Big moment again. Daniel Barach. Blue delight for the Blue Devils. A 10th of the season for the number 9. A mistake at the back from the Rhinos. Punished by the Blue Devils. That could be game, set and match.
It was fantastic defending by Marty Rains. He's pinched the ball and created the opportunity. I half thought that it was going to be offside there, but he's done ever so well in squaring it up for Barach. And cool as you like, took a couple of touches and finished it very well.
Looks comfortable now for Belconnen. It didn't in the first half for large periods, but 3-0 is a different kettle of fish. A good 8-minute start to the second half. And Ulysses De Silva and his team are in charge of this one. Yeah. Looking at the goal difference as well, which might come into play, Dean, that puts them on +2. The Tigers on +7. Of course, the Tigers have those games in hand, starting on Wednesday against Gungahlin United. Well, and then next weekend.
Well, if that's the case, then I think it's really important that Belconnen continue on in this vein and try to put a few more on them.
You just never know, do you, in this crazy season, about what could happen next?
Well, with so many teams vying for the top 4, Russ, it's important that they continue on, look to score as many as they can.
Nigel Oval will be some place to be next Sunday afternoon, I'd imagine.
Take the skis.
Be freezing cold. And it'll be hot on the field, though, between 2 sides who will be pushing for that top 4 spot. And right about now, Tuggeranong United might be a bit nervous ahead of tomorrow's match against Monero Panthers, especially with their last game of the season being a straightforward trip to Deakin Stadium to play Canberra FC. Here's Junalainen, lining one up from distance. Finds Priest. Rattel. Nice shift of direction. Looking for an opening.
He's just looking for someone to play with, isn't he? Just to bounce.
Here's Pete. Loses out. And that's a good ball forward, looking for the run of Barach. Sartor's back there. You know, a few seasons ago, Dean, when you were in charge of the Rockets team, the Capital Football President, remember the representative side we had here? And You'd like to stick an Arthur Rattel into one of those sides and see what he can do, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's certainly a quality player. He commands that midfield, that centre of midfield spot. It's just unfortunate. It just doesn't have one or two other players to play with it around him. It could certainly cause a lot of problems.
Well, Bailey busted a gut to get forward there, and in the end his cross didn't pick out anyone in the area. There wasn't many to pick out, to be honest. This is their problem. They're missing Nathan Batocchio today, the pace that he brings. They're also missing the goal scorer against Olympic, Sam Scarfoni. He's injured. And Mitch Bagianti, who scored 30-plus goals in the local competition down there, he's also unavailable today, so that doesn't help their cause.
No.
It's Priest. Rattel's going through. The flag stays down. What an opportunity this is for Arthur Rattel, and he tried to be too clever. And Finn Durack stood up, and he chipped it straight into his hands. Big chance goes begging.
Yeah, it's a real pity. He deserves a goal.
Probably, in hindsight, we're thinking, well, I'll probably should go around him or just slide it. Tried the hardest one of the three.
Sometimes when you're in those sort of situations, there's so many things that go through your head. Not that ever happened to me, Russ, because I never was that far up the field.
I say we've all missed them from there, mate. And from closer in. Here's Junalainen. As you said, his performances deserved a goal. Yeah. That might have caused a few wobbles in the Belconnen team as well.
Yeah, look, it's an unfortunate aspect of teams that are certainly lower down the table is when they get two or three injuries or players that are unavailable, it does tend to lessen their ability to be able to compete effectively against the top four sides.
Here they come with Lulu into the area. Priest almost got on the end of that. He's still there, Joe Priest. Chance for Priest to fire one in, and that is a fantastic goal from the skipper. Maybe the Rhinos aren't done just yet after all. It's 3-1.
I think Belconnen would be very disappointed. It's a great goal. It's a great finish, but I think they'll be pretty disappointed in conceding that. They've just switched off.
3 in the last 2 games for Joe Priest. Maybe he's the answer to their goal-scoring problems.
Well, they've proven that they can actually go forward and score goals and create opportunities. So, if they pinch another one and all of a sudden the pressure's back on Belconnen.
Well, Rattel should have scored moments before. Priest just has scored, so the warning signs are there for Belconnen that maybe they're not home and hosed just yet. Here's Reinhardt. Looking to play Balachin down the line, but it's been intercepted. Santalim finds the ball backwards, and here comes Junalainen. A little bit loose, that pass, though. Mabry picks it up. Whittier, who scored the second Belconnen goal. Wells gives it away. Pressure was on from Donadel. Junalainen's there, and here's Rattel. Spins away from Waters.
Yeah.
Just silky in everything he does at the moment, except for his finishing.
Absolutely.
Look at this. It's a good move again. Donadel finds Rattel.
He's been the best player on the park by far. By far.
Totally agree. Here he is again. Loses out on that occasion. Just too many blue shirts to crowd him out. Durack, who stood up well to the previous one from Rattel. Couldn't really do an awful lot about that one from Priest. No. Thunderous strike from the skipper. A bit of life in the Rhinos. Priest is after this one as well. And he's going to get there too, and he's been brought down here. And it's a free kick, and probably a yellow card for Isaac Clements. Causing some issues now, Priest.
Yeah, absolutely. It's conceded a free kick in a dangerous area here, and if this happens to go in, 3-2, all of a sudden game on.
Well, let's see, Junalainen's lining it up. The second Estonian in the team there. Hasn't scored a goal yet this season, but has some set-piece quality. Durack lining up the wall. 4 blue devil shirts in it. Erkki Junalainen, they call him Eric. Up and over, swings it goalwards, and it's just over the crossbar. It wasn't far away from Junalainen, and the pressure mounted from the Rhinos.
Belconnen has switched off, Russ, and the Rhinos, you can just see there's a little skip in their step at the moment, and they're creating a couple of opportunities. It might be an opportunity, well, it may very well be that Yuli and Steve might look to change things around.
Nice segue to look at the bench. Jason Ugrinich is there. Lucas Miragis, another forward. Harry Williams, a defender. Nick Dahl and Reece Flissinger, the reserve goalkeeper as well. So plenty of options. Not struggling for numbers on that bench. It's a good bench. All solid Premier League players.
Pretty solid.
And that's Mabry leaving one in on Priest.
Nicky Dahl, the Carl Valeri, or the Walter Valeri medalist
Yeah,
Was it
scored the
Walter
winning
Glenn?
goal in the the
Yeah.
winning goal, what proved to be the winning goal, the second for Belconnen. He's a late inclusion in that squad last year as well, wasn't he, I think, towards the end of the season.
He came into the side following some injuries and never got out of it.
Been a bit unfortunate not to start as many games this season.
He's been in Russia.
Is that
watching
why?
the World Cup, yes.
Well, there you go.
So he's just returned.
Let's see if he can get himself back into the squad and back into the team. A few boys went over from Canberra to Russia. Enjoyed themselves at the World Cup. Dean himself went to Europe. Basking in the sunshine of hot days and stuff.
It was work, Russ.
Was in the Dockeroos.
Yeah, it was
We'll talk about that in a moment. Here's Priest spinning away. Lovely pass to Bailey, who's made the run forward. And he drives one. Caught between a cross and a shot there, and he's a bit upset with himself, Darren Bailey. Bright opening again, though.
They've opened them up again. It's some slick passing, as really has got them at 6s and 7s, and I suspect that Steve's looking at maybe changing things around here.
McLeod chasing back with Barach. Looking to shield at the defender, and in fact gives the corner away. How did the Dockeroos go this year?
Really well, Russ. We ended up coming fourth in the competition, making semi-finals, losing narrowly to Great Britain, who eventually ended up winning the competition, and we lost to Brazil in the third and fourth playoff after being in front for the large majority of the game. So it was a dramatic improvement on last year's 19th finish. So yeah, all in all, very pleasing.
Well, swings it in, header goalward, and that's a good piece of defending from McLeod to concede another corner. Dockeroos, the Australian medical team, of course, and you said Great Britain won it, so football did come home after all.
Yeah, they kept playing that ridiculous song.
I'm sure they did.
Great Britain, there's 4 countries though.
I'm sure it was a good experience for everybody there. Where was that? Was that in
It was in Prague.
In Prague, was it?
In Prague, yeah, it was lovely.
Oh, that would have been a struggle. A week in Prague. Ball swung into the penalty area.
Yep.
Half a chance here, and that's a good save from Caleb Biondo. Got his hand on it. And it's another corner. I could think of a worse place to go for work.
Young Sam Whittier, Woody's really causing the Rhinos a lot of problems. He's excellent in the air, good with his feet, fast.
See what they can do off this set piece. Marty Rains has taken over the duties from Wells, and his delivery is just as good, and Santalin needed to climb high to head it away. Barach was lining that one up. Priest got in front of him, though, and gets in front of Waters as well. Ball sent forward. Ralulu will chase, but Mabry has got plenty of time to nod it back to Finn Durack, who will look to get the Belconnen Blue Devils back underway. 80 minutes of the second half gone, live on Bar TV Sports. It's Belconnen United 3, the Riverina Rhinos 1, and here's Rains looking for Barach. Sartor's across to make it difficult for Barach, and the big defender does well there to stand him up. Tries to be a little bit too tricky though and gives the ball away. Wells, dangerous when he lines one up from this range, but couldn't find the shot that would trouble Biondo.
I was just about to say that young Marty Rains, he really does defend so high up the park and so well. He wins so many things off defenders and creates those opportunities for his teammates higher up the park.
Substitution for the Rhinos. Now this youngster might be the guy with the longest name in capital football. Alexander Mulrooney Castellano is about to jog on.
Well, you've been practicing that for a week, haven't you, Russ?
I wish I had. The problem with the Rhinos is that their substitutes literally only get told on the day, because poor old Gabriel Abdallah struggles for numbers and can never tell us his subs till the day. That's Mulrooney Castellano. Let's see how he goes. He's come on for Cody Pete, who put in a good shift from fullback.
He has.
Here's Reinhardt, first challenge for the substitute. Ball into the penalty. Barach was there. Bailey won the ball with a very firm header. And here's Ralulu. Priest is off on his bike already, and Joe Priest could be in behind here. Priest for the Rhinos. Can he pull another one back? It's Priest. He can! The Rhinos are right back in this. Joe Priest, for the second week in a row, scores 2 in a game, and it's game on at McKellar.
It's a fantastic ball and a fantastic finish.
When they needed a captain to stand up, he did. He's caused himself some problems here, though. Not sure what happened. Did he get caught by Durack as he scored? I'm not sure.
No, it looks to be Crab. I suspect it's Crab, but it was a fantastic run, a great ball in behind that in behind who was it, Isaac Clements, and he's finished it very, very well.
Well, just a shout out for Johnny Ralulu for a goalkeeper. That was a silky touch.
Yeah.
Priest was on his bike early, wasn't he?
Oh, he's as the touch's been played forward, he's made the run in behind, and the ball's been played perfectly. The timing of it all was superb. Let's hope he's okay, because they're going to need him if they want to get a result out of this, and quite possibly they can. 2
in 6 minutes last week against the Tigers, 2 in 8 minutes this week against the Blue Devils. We were talking about them struggling for goals. They found a goal scorer.
Well, it's interesting. It's all credit to the Rhinos, who have, regardless of the situation or the position of the game, they have put all that pressure on Belconnen on that last line, and Belconnen have switched off. Steve's making some changes, or appears to be looking to make some changes right now. Maybe it's a little bit, maybe the momentum has shifted.
The twists and turns in this MPL season in Canberra, it just gets stranger and stranger, doesn't it? This one looked dead and buried at 3-0. All of a sudden, the Rhinos are back in it. All of a sudden, you can hear some internet connections being made down in Nijong and Cooma. People going, hang on a minute, we'll switch it back on.
It seemed like Belconnen were already on the bus heading down to Cooma, or preparing that way, and they've just forgot to finish this game at 3-0. You would have liked to have thought that they could continue on, but they haven't, and all credit to the Rhinos, and they've come back, and it's game on.
Well, Priest gets a bit of treatment. You called it 5 minutes ago, Dean. They've switched off. When Balach scored to make it 3-0, I think they thought maybe it was game over. I even called game, set, and match, I think, myself.
Well, I thought it might have been an opportunity to make some substitutions, give some players like Harry Williams, Nick Dahl, Jason, Lucas, potentially one or two of those opportunities just to bring a little bit more energy to them, shake things up a little bit, but that wasn't to be, unfortunately, and I suspect now the momentum has shifted, and it's all with Rhinos.
Unfortunately for them, they have lost Priest. He's been substituted. Whatever that injury is, it's not going to allow him to carry on, and Dean Catanzariti has joined the fray. That's a big blow for them, because he's been looking sharp, and he looked like he was well on the way to a hat-trick, of course.
That's a real shame for them. Real shame.
Let's see if they can ride this out and try and get another goal to bring themselves back level. They're going to have to defend this corner first. We're midway through the second half, live on Bar TV Sports. The action keeps on coming. It's Belconnen 3, Rhinos 2. A game that looked all but done after 52 minutes when Daniel Barach kept his cool to notch his 10th goal in all competitions this season. Still has life in it. Marty Rains looking to snuff it out with this set piece. Swings it towards the far post, but that's well over hit. Chance for Rattel just to see it out, and a little bit of afters. Phil Bourgeot letting Rattel know he was there.
Well, it looks very much like now Belconnen are in the contest again, and they're going to have to switch on very quickly.
Raululu wins the header. Looking for the substitute, Catanzariti. Mabry's there. Well, if you're watching in Griffith and you're watching your boys, the Rhinos, they're doing you proud at the moment, because, as Dean says, they didn't give up. Heads didn't go down. They kept plugging away, and they fought their way back into this match. Here's Raululu, who's touch created the second goal. Is going to win his side a throw.
You certainly don't have to be a genius to know that if you're the Rhinos players, you'd be wanting to give it to the number 10. What's his name again?
Rattel.
Rattel.
There he is.
Just want him on the ball.
Bailey looking for Catanzariti. Here's Whittier. He's ever run that. All of a sudden, things not going the way of the Blue Devils. Bailey looks for Rattel. Looks to roll his marker, and he does. Falls for Donadell. Run on the overlap. Donadell goes for goal. Blocked by Makor. Wins it again, though. Rattel brings it down. Wins the free kick for a foul by Waters, and more danger. And Blue Devils look rattled.
Yeah, definitely. He's having an effect on this game like Luka Modric had for Croatia against England, Russ. In the semi-final, if you remember that game.
For some reason, that's blurred in my memory. I remember the first 60 minutes. After that, it went behind a veil of tears. Here's Junalainen with a free kick. What can he do? Chips it into the area. Reinhardt got a touch. Here's an opportunity again, perhaps. Fired across goal. It's deflected off Reinhardt and somehow straight to Finn Durack. And Belconnen living on the edge. Maybe they need a change, and maybe it needs to happen soon. Oh, Donatel has his hands up, apologises to Caleb Biondo. It's not what he wanted. This game has got... This could go either way now, couldn't it, Dean?
Oh, absolutely. But I tell you what, Cam Reinhardt, if he has deliberately just cushioned that down to Finn Durack, then he's done ever so well. Last week he scores them, and this week he saves them.
If he's deliberately cushioned that to Finn Durack, he should be playing for Manchester United or Liverpool. Because that was outstanding. Here's Wells swinging it into the penalty area. It's a good one again. One on the far post, but it's going to break for a Rattel, and here come the Rhinos on the counter. Casanzariti swings it wide. It's Sartor. Mulrooney Castellanos there ahead of him. Nice touch by the young substitute. Sartor switches it to this near side to Raululu. There's a bit of belief in this Rhinos team. Unfortunately, he gives it away to Barac, and here's Whittier. He's got pace. He's got Wells ahead of him. Perhaps should have released it to Wells. Maykor's touch.
Dustin made a fantastic run there, and if he had been able to find him, they would have been able to go hopefully a little bit further forward and create an opportunity, taking that extra touch.
Reigns finds Wells. It's loose for Rattel, where he wants it. Asks Junalainen to make the run for him. Got the run on the far post. There's no one there, and Junalainen's ball towards Catanzariti, but it's overhit.
Belconnen's starting to get frustrated, and you can see there's some animation going on the bench as well. So they seem a little bit rattled, and the momentum is all with Rhinos.
It is. Maybe it's time for a change. 20 minutes to go. We mentioned that bench. Jason Ugrinich, Lucas Maragis, Harry Williams, Nick Dahl. Maybe one of them will have a moment. Here's Barac! And he almost made it 4. That would have put it to bed. Climbed well. It was a bit behind him in his defence. Couldn't quite get his head round it, could he?
I think he's done ever so well just to get his head there and try to direct it inside that near post.
We can't complain about the entertainment factor, can we?
It's going end to end, Russ.
Biondo with the latest goal kick, and we saw in the first half how far he can send it up the park. Catanzariti was there. That was Mulrooney Castellano. Wells. Barac. Now Reigns. Nice touch wide from Waters to Whittier. Looks to take on his man. And Bailey sticks to the task and wins the challenge well. That'll please young Lucas Patterson watching back in Scotland.
He's done ever so well. They've defended really well. You know, generally across the course of the whole game, they've done exceptionally well.
Have they got enough in them to find an equaliser?
Well, we'll find out soon enough. 15 minutes.
Tell you what, a Rhinos goal at this stage for 3-3 would be huge in the scheme of things, wouldn't it? As would a 4th Belconnen goal. Wells, nice ball in over the head of Clements. Might come straight back though. Here's Reinhardt, Cam Reinhardt, 2 goals last week. Switch from Bourgeot to Wells. Looks to get it onto that left foot to deliver. Junalainen blocked it, and it hit him on the arm. It's a free kick. But unlucky from Erkki Junalainen. Shield had no hesitation in blowing the whistle there, and here's Wells. How many set pieces has he taken tonight? I lost count. It must be well into the 10s or 20s. Here is Wells with the latest of them. Right-footed swings it in. Good clearance header by Donadell.
It's a lovely ball, but it's broken away for the Rhinos.
And here goes Rattel on his own. He's only got Mabry ahead of him, Arthur Rattel. He's looking to stand up, Mabry. Comes inside, possibly the wrong option. Ran into traffic when there was more space outside, but there was another breakaway, and you can hear the agitation in the Belconnen supports. Now Reigns looking to take advantage of the Rhinos pushing players forwards. Marty Reigns. Marty Reigns with the left foot tries to curl one.
Jeez, I actually felt that if he had have gone on he's obviously not all that comfortable on his left foot. He's decided to go inside on his right foot, but there was a lot of space on Zach Mabry's right-hand side. If he'd taken it with his left foot and gone around, maybe been able to slip one in for one of the 3 or 4 players who were marauding forward.
I'll tell you what, then, if he had gone left, Mabry would have had a decision to make as well.
Oh, and on a yellow card too. Oh.
Ralulu wins the header. Catanzariti can't get there. Maycor does. Finds Reinhardt, who clips it forward looking for Barac. He's gone wider. Cross goes Sartor. He's defended him quite well today, Jordan Sartor.
Yeah.
Him and McLeod have looked fairly solid at the back. Once again, Belconnen have a corner, but as we've seen, this is perhaps where the Rhinos are most dangerous.
Well, I think they just need to make sure they've got the sufficient cover. And I'm just trying to have a quick look here. They've probably got that. It looks like they've squared it away. Steve has made sure that they've got sufficient cover. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say they've told maybe to go back. It's at least 3 in there. As the corner comes in, it bounces around. Shot on the turn was from Clements, I think.
Yeah. Umpteenth corner. I've lost count.
So many, isn't it? It's either Wells or Rains, and the delivery from all of them has been dangerous. Unfortunately for Belconnen, those chances falling to, no offence to Isaac Clements, not the player you want on the end of them most of the time. Again, Rains, deep one this time. Again, it was Clements climbing, but he concedes a free kick.
The game's delicately poised now, Russ. It'll be interesting to see what Steve does in terms of changing things around. It doesn't look like Yuli's on the bench.
Doesn't look like it, does it?
No.
It looks like Steve Forshaw's here.
So he's got
total
3 or
control.
4 subs. He's keeping things the same.
Steve Forshaw normally standing next to me in the commentary box, joined by Dean Ugrinic this evening. Join your company, Dean, for a 5-goal thriller so far.
Oh, it's been a superb evening, entertaining game.
Especially from a neutral point of view. Not many of them in the McKellar Park this evening. Free kick, Rattel's behind. Goes short to Donadell. Looked for Raululu. Might break for Bailey. He rides the challenge and lets it roll to Santolin. He's asked Bailey to go after that one and across Ken Bourgeot. Free kick, little nudge in the back by Bailey.
It's going to make for an interesting last 15 minutes, Russ. I think you can just see that players are starting to get a little agitated.
We're into the final 15. Belconnen lead 3-2 against the Rhinos. They were cruising at 3-0. But a couple of goals from Joe Priest. Unfortunate for the Rhinos that they lost him because he was causing all sorts of issues.
Yeah.
And on the break, you'd think he might have been a chance again. Here's Junalainen. They do need to get the ball to Rattel as much as they can, you feel. McLeod back to Biondo. Up towards Raululu, who's been very good as a goalkeeper playing up front. That's a heavy fall in the middle of the park. Is that Bourgeot?
It is. Again,
landed awkwardly.
He gives his heart and soul, and you just see there the ball. If it's there to be won, he's just going to jump up into the air, win it. But there are so many times when he falls down, he gets injured and hurts himself. But he puts everything into that Belconnen shirt. He's
going to get a bit of treatment from Beck Keating, who we'll see out on the field tomorrow, I would imagine, at Gungahlin Enclosed, playing for Canberra Olympic in that women's 4th v 5th. Huge match in the WMPL. Gungahlin United in 5th, Canberra Olympic in 4th, both level on points. 3 rounds to go in women's competition. Whoever wins tomorrow will be in pole position for a place in the finals, and you'll see that all live on Bar TV Sports tomorrow afternoon with myself and Steve Forshaw, who will be joining me in the commentary box at Gungahlin.
I'm sure Phil's going to be okay. He'll come back on. I just see all the subs warming up at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how Steve rearranges things.
Bailey with a long throw, looking for Santolin. Couldn't get a touch, neither could Raululu. And he's won himself a throw there, I think. Well, I thought it came off of Brad Waters last, I believe, but it didn't. In fact, it was Waters, was it, that got back?
Yeah.
Mabry. Junalainen gets in there. Barac wins it. Maybe he's pulled forward, there's no one there. Time for McLeod to bring it down. Slide it forward. Look for Santolin, but he's beaten to it by Waters. Here's Whittier. He's got the pace on McLeod. And it hits McLeod on the arm. And that'll be a free kick again. Not a lot the Scottish defender could do about that one, was there?
Well, it wasn't.
It was handball, but...
Yeah, it was definitely a free kick, but it's not a bad free kick to have because he was in behind. Well, Sammy Woody was in behind.
Wells to take yet another. Dead ball, swings it in, lovely ball. Lovely arc on it as well. Nobody attacked it or got anywhere near it, and Steve Forshaw throws his arms up in frustration.
Well, you can say that he's been practicing. Dusty's been practicing his free kicks and corners
for about 30 years.
He's had a whole heap of them tonight.
He's probably taken more tonight than he's taken all season. Biondo with the latest goal kick. 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Is there an unlikely leveller from the Rhinos? Is Junalainen.
Here we go.
Lost out in midfield. Waters looking for a way forward. Can only give the ball back to Junalainen though. Bailey and Santolin combined. That's a bit short, but McLeod gets a challenge in. Better from Santolin that time. Catanzariti has worked hard. Hasn't looked the same threat as Priest, though, has he, at the moment?
Belconnen have gone away from their natural play, or their natural style of play, and trying to keep possession. They just need maybe a couple of their midfielders just to get their foot on it, maybe keep a little bit of the possession, keep the ball moving. It just seems that they're just rushing things a little bit and panicking.
We're going to make a change shortly. Here's Reinhardt. Loses out, and ball is clipped forward by Santolin. Catanzariti putting himself around. Belconnen United's going to bring on Jason Ugrinich shortly. Here's Rattel. Won't be surprised if it's Rains or someone like that. He's worked really hard. It's usually Rains who gets the hook around this time. He's put his heart and soul into it again.
Well, he's always in the game, Russ, isn't he? If he's not attacking with the ball or making runs forward, he's defending.
Incredible energy, incredible engine. That may surprise us yet. It might be a different change. It's an attacking one, which is a surprise maybe at 3-2 with 10 minutes to go. Unless you know something I don't, Dean, and he's going to play him at the back. Here's Rattel.
You wouldn't want him defending, trust me.
Ball swung in. Santolin's there. Might fall for Bailey. He's been asked to retreat, though. Darren Bailey looks to swing that one in. It comes off Whitty. It's a throw. The Rhinos, who look dead and buried after 52 minutes, are still very much in this one.
There's a sense of belief in their play, Russ.
And Bailey's got a decent long throw. We've seen it before. Throws it to the near post this time, and it's nodded clear by Bourgeot, and it's Barach. McLeod, real heavyweight contest, that one. And McLeod comes out on top. He's taken over the captain's armband. Scottish defender. Sartor sweeps it to Mulrooney Castellano. Rattel. Santolin. Twists and turns. Loses out there. And Belconnen looking to settle things down. Waters.
It's better. Needs
someone to put their foot on the ball. Whittier again asked a lot of him, and he can't keep it in. Theodrakopoulos, the linesman on this near side. Junalainen. 8 minutes to go, plus stoppage time. Bailey looks to lift one forward to Raululu, who had made the run, but it skipped away off this surface. Here comes Reinhardt. You might look at this on the field if you're not sure to it, Dean, and if you've not been here before, and think it's not a good surface because it looks yellow, but this is that Kutch grass that comes really green in the summer, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's a perfect playing surface.
I personally think it's the best surface in Canberra. Russ, there's no excuses. And you can just see a player of this boy's of ability. You can just see he's just thriving in these conditions.
Here is Rattel. Can he find something special for his team in these last 7 minutes or so? Sartor.
Here he goes. There's a ball in behind.
The ball forwards looking for Rattel, who made the run. It's going to be picked up in midfield by Wells. Reinhardt clips it forward. Rains can't keep that in play. Are we going to see this change or not just yet? We're going to see a double change, in fact. What's going on here then, Dean?
Well, he's decided to bring on young Lucas and Jason. It'll be interesting. So he's taking off Woody and Marty. So you've called it there, Russ. So he's just basically changed the two wide boys, the wingers.
Well, they've both put in a huge amount of effort, haven't they? Both Whittier and Rains. Whittier got himself a goal. Rains wasn't that lucky today, but the effort and energy that they both put in.
Woody's been fantastic, and Marty always puts in a solid shift, as we spoke about earlier on. Gives his heart and soul. Two lefties now on there, young Lucas and Jason.
We've seen Mirages play at fullback this season as well, so he can defend a bit too. You tell me that Jason Ugrinic can't. I'm sure he's going to...
Left back on the bench.
Here's Junalainen in the middle of the park. Bailey's made the run out to this left side, and he's got a fair bit of McKellar Park to run into if he can get the ball. Darren Bailey. Oh, and he's just left that one a bit too behind. Junalainen swings it in towards Raululu. One in the air by Clements. Bourgeau's challenged. Junalainen's there as well. It's bouncing around. Bailey got involved. And Clements, no nonsense, just gets rid. Here's Barach 3-on-3 at the moment. If he can get that down, Donadell wins it. Calls for a high foot, not given. Here is Donadell. Raululu's made the run, and that was a very good foot from Isaac Clements.
So if he had to thread that one through, I think
Raululu was away,
he would have
wasn't
been away. He was. He's definitely away.
Here they go again, Rattel.
They're looking a little shaky here, Belco.
Well, Mirages got there and just towed it ahead of Mulrooney Castellana, who's been penalised. The free kick given.
It's going to make for an interesting last five or so minutes, Russ.
It's been interesting since Priest pulled one back, hasn't it? 3-1 since then.
Well, it's Belconnen season on the line now, so they're going to have to see this out.
They need to. They need to be going next week with the Tigers. Chance to leap above them on Wednesday if they get a result against Gungahlin. And it's almost winner takes all next Sunday in Nijong. Reinhardt clips it down the line. Well run by Sartor. Reinhardt again. Battled so hard. We're going to see Harry Williams here, a defensive change for Belconnen shortly as they look to see this one out. Santel into this near side. Bailey sends it forward. Mabry's there though. Ugrinic. That's a nice ball. Looking for Barach, who's got the run on McLeod. Barach. Ugrinic, left foot curler. Oh, yes. He's been away for 6 weeks. He's back in the team on the from the bench. Jason Ugrinic with an absolute perler. That could be crucial in the scheme of things tonight, and even more crucial in the scheme of things for the season. Absolute beauty.
Yeah, well, he's actually played a very nice ball into Danny Barach, followed his run. Danny's found him again on his left foot, a lot of space. Boys, the Rhinos defence didn't close him down, and he's picked his spot nicely. And as he did all year last year, he's slotted it very nicely.
He's passed it in the net, hasn't he, rather than blasted it, and Biondo was nowhere near it. He took a dive, and it was perfectly placed. A third of the season for Jason Ugrinic and Belconnen United, you'd think, are home and hosed, but there's still 3 minutes plus stoppage time, so who knows?
You don't know. It's
Donadell to Santelin. Now Bailey. Bit harsh out on the Rhinos.
They've battled and played their hearts out tonight. All their supporters should be very proud, and their coach. Coach and such should be very proud of them.
Ugrinic. Now finds Barach, who was heavily involved in that goal. Mabry lifts that one into the air, and Biondo has it. Can the Rhinos pull another one back and get themselves in? That bounce is going to beat Williams. Here's Rattel looking to get away, and looks to find Raululu on the far post. Nice idea.
He's been absolutely outstanding, Russ. I tell you, he'd certainly, if he was eligible for NY, he'd be certainly very handy, wouldn't he?
He's an overage player.
As an overage player.
You could bring him in.
I'd have to check his age, but he's just an absolutely outstanding, probably the best player on the park by far.
He'd have to be a shout for player of the season as well, wouldn't he, in the MPL? Arthur Rattel, he would have picked up a fair few points, I'd imagine, throughout the year as the best on ground for the Rhinos.
You'd like to think so, Russ. Who picks those, by the way? Do you know? No.
I think it was the referees usually.
Well, there you go.
I'm not sure. I think I've got a shout. Here's Bailey. Greenwich gets a toe in ahead of him, and off he goes. Head down, looking for a runner ahead of him. Greenwich back onto his left foot again. Looks to slide it through, but Junalainen read the intention. Donadell loses out.
We've just got an injury here.
Bailey's still down, I think, and here's a chance for Dustin Wells to seal it. Just pokes it underneath Biondo. It's a bit harsh on the Rhinos, but the Blue Devils have restored that 3-goal cushion they had in the 50th minute. Dustin Wells with the second of the game for him, and that seals it for the Blue Devils. It's 5-2.
Well, it looks very much like a couple of those substitutions just breathe a little bit of energy back into Belconnen, and they've finished the game off now. It's comfortable for them.
The Rhinos just run out of steam. Maybe only having the 2 subs is hurting them. And to be honest, Dean, since they lost Priest, they've lost a little bit of momentum, haven't they? It was
such a shame. Had he have stayed on, I suspect that maybe he might have caused a little bit more problems for Belconnen in that final third. Unfortunately, that's football.
We were here last week watching Belconnen United women's team beat Canberra Olympic 5-0. I said then that wasn't a 5-0 game afterwards. This doesn't feel like a 5-2 one, does it?
No.
It's been closer than that.
No.
Belconnen have had more of the play and more of the possession, but it's a bit harsh, the result on the Rhinos. Belconnen have deserved the game, deserved the win. Is there still something for the Rhinos? Bailey buzzing around in midfield.
It's been a really good solid hit out for Belconnen, and it'll hold them in good stead for next week. The Rhinos, again, like I said, they can hold their heads up high. They've been very, very competitive this evening.
Can't complain about the action. We've had 7 goals live on Bar TV Sports. We're into stoppage time. Belconnen 5-2 up. Ball forwards. Nicely won at the back by Waters. A challenge in there from Catanzariti. And it should be a throw to the Rhinos as time is ticking away. It's been an entertaining match. Plenty of goals for us to look at, and hopefully wherever you're watching this you've enjoyed the action this evening. Bailey looking to keep it in. He was the player that was down injured, unfortunately, when Wells scored the 5th goal. Here's Bailey's touch, nicely done. Donadell and Junalainen involved again, and McLeod looks to lift it forward. No one's made the run, though, up front. You can't blame them. They've been making those runs for 90 minutes.
Yeah,
Johnny Raululu, particularly, has done very well.
He's done exceptionally well.
Caused plenty of problems. Wells, who's caused plenty of problems at the other end, as usual. Reinhardt lifts it forward, looking for Wells. Well won by Sartor. Maykel was there, but defensively they managed to get it away beyond his, rather shanked his clearance, but finds Junalainen. Santalin. Nicely done, Catanzariti. Looking ball wide from Junalainen, finds Raululu. Trying to force the ball down the line as we come to the end of the match, and it's been an entertaining one, as I've said. And is there still time for one more? Ball swung into the penalty area. Durack is there, clutches the ball close to his chest. It shouldn't be too much more to go. Belconnen United will be back into the top 4. Here's Wells, having improved their goal difference as well. It's a +2, offside. And looking ahead to next week, let's say next Sunday, massive game, and it's hard to call, isn't it? Two of the 2 informed teams in the competition.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Russ. I think it'll be a monumental a match. So much at stake. Well, top 4 position, and when it was all looking highly unlikely.
Well, Harrison Shield pulls the final whistle and the end of the game, and Belconnen United have come out on top, and they will enter that top 4. But Dean, in the end, we got the result that we looked like we were going to get after 52 minutes, but not in the way we expected to get it, because that was a fight and a half put up by the Rhinos there, and a real scare until Jason Greenwich comes off the bench and makes it 4-2, and probably puts the contest to bed then. But the Rhinos can be very proud of what they've done.
They were exceptional tonight. They really put in, and again, Belconnen were up 3-0, and could have easily excused the Rhinos for chucking it in, but they didn't. They actually stuck at it. They got one, and then they got a second. It was just unfortunate. What's the boy's name, the number 9 there, who had to come off at that time? Otherwise, had he have maybe stayed on, there might have been another opportunity for them. But all in all, the Rhinos, I mean, Belconnen deserved winners in the end, but the Rhinos can hold their heads up high. They were fantastic.
Thanks for your help again, Dean. Hope you enjoyed being back in the country and watching a bit of football. And there's your son on the field grabbing an important goal as well.
Look, it's a pleasure, Russ. Anytime.
Thanks to Dean Greenwich. Thanks for your company as well on Bar TV Sports. It was a game which Belconnen United looked to have sewn up after the 52 minutes when they were 3-0 up. They were comfortable. Dustin Wells' penalty, header from Sam Whittier, and Daniel Balach making it 3-0. But the Rhinos fought back, a brace from Joe Priest, and an unfortunate injury when he scored his second goal to make it 3-2 curtailed their involvement. A couple of late goals killed it off. Jason Greenwich from the bench made it 4. Dustin Wells made it 5. It was an entertaining game of football. Belconnen United moving to the 4 ahead of next week's crunch clash against Tigers FC. Capital Football MPL will go to the very wire this season. A round and a half to go. The final score at McKellar Park, Belconnen United 5, Riverina Rhinos 2.